Now, food for thought. Too often, light loses to heat in political debate, right? No brainer, obvious. But we need to see it and check ourselves because we don't want to wreck ourselves, right? You see McCarthy supposedly elbowing another GOP rep, Burchett from Tennessee, in the ribs, he says, clear kidney shot, allegedly. Lawmakers getting in each other's faces. A U.S. Senator, Mark Wayne Mullen, he stood up. He was ready to do something. I know him. He is no joke. The man is trained as a fighter, but is he making a joke out of his position? Okay? It's not a GOP attack. Again, I know Burchett. I know Mullen. We get along. I welcome them on the show. You can ask them. And I get that there is a line, okay, where it can seem like laying hands may feel right. Like this is just too much. Mike Tyson says, right? Being on the internet has made you people forget that sometimes what you say can get you punched in the mouth. Feels good, right? But the best of us, the people that we put in power, have to act like that. They cannot reflect the worst of us. I know it feels good. I know it can seem to make sense. But man, those are short-lived feelings. That's a sugar high. And when it burns off, there's nothing but regret and reinforcing of a standard that's just tearing us apart. Now, right now, I sound like kind of a hypocrite. Two reasons. Why? One, I'm a big fighter. I train in self-defense all the time, and I love violence, and I love to watch it. I also had on my show last night something that plays exactly into the problem. And here it was. Ramaswamy, why do you keep going at Nikki Haley? Why do you think this is going to bear fruit?
Chris, I don't know what you've been smoking, man. You and the rest of the mainstream media. It's laughable.
Nikki Haley keeps kicking your ass in these debates. Why
according to the left-wing media,
pick someone else?
Chris, give me a freaking break. You turn on social media, you understand. People should watch that debate. I went to New Hampshire. People were laughing at the idea of the mainstream media's coverage of the New York Times columnists and people like you. The main obstacle to uniting this country is you all in the establishment media that has been feeding lies after lies.
I'm smiling through a lot of it. Why? Because to me, the antics are very obvious. But what was the point of that? Was I helping you? Was I feeding your ability to be a critical thinker? Was I testing him in any real way, or other than just showing he can not keep his cool when baited? And I did bait him. I'm not here for theater. I spoke to Ramaswamy today. I don't have anything to apologize for, but that's not how I should be doing the job. I should be doing better with him and for you. Why? Because I don't want to be part of the game. And that's the game. That went viral. It was the least helpful discussion on the show last night, but it went viral. Why? Because that's what feeds the game. That's what the media loves. And I want him back on to talk about what matters to you as long as he's relevant in this campaign. Oh, but he insulted you. He accused you of things. Yeah, and he was wrong. But he wasn't wrong about everything. And this isn't about me and my feelings. Ramaswamy is smart to be an agent of people's anger. That's what he's playing to, your outrage. There are a lot of angry people who want change, and they crave someone from outside, desperately so, to change the game, to change the effect of it. Now, I don't believe that that is most of the country, by the way. I don't believe America's an angry place, but we can be. And there are enough people who are playing to that instinct to make a difference, certainly in Ramaswamy's party, certainly in a primary in that party. And Ramaswamy picking on the media as a bad guy, that's not dumb. That's worked as a ploy since this country's founding, okay? You Google any great leader and their relationship with the media, it ain't gonna be good. And sometimes the media gives people reason to think less of us. Look at the headlines, even surrounding the Ramaswamy chat, okay? I could think of a million reasons to criticize. But this ain't one of them. I admitted covering for my brother. They know they're twisting. Why? Because they uncovered a truth? No, they didn't. They're just saying something that they can get out of context to be negative. And negativity is a proxy for insight these days, too often in the media. Why? be honest, it works. Aren't you more likely to care about something, watch or read something, even believe something that is negative versus something positive? Think about it. It's all you're being fed. It would be reasonable for you to be susceptible to that appetite. Now, as a matter of fact, as I've told you before, I've never had anything to cover for. And those outlets know it. I can't tell you how many people in this business have contacted me to say what happened with me and my situation was wrong. But then they write things like this. I've said this many times, and I'm litigating it, so I'm careful about it. I told you guys I wouldn't report on my brother's allegations for obvious reasons. You all got it. I hid nothing. I did nothing to help him that I needed to hide or cover for. But this isn't about me, okay? I'm not asking for your vote, and I'm no leader. But Ramaswamy wants to be. And I think the appearance last night and his recent tactics antagonizing his competitors may be a mistake for his ambitions. And I think he can do better than that. This is a smart guy who's made a lot of money at a young age. Anger is a problem. I'm not saying he's wrong to identify that, but I don't think it's the solution. And his high point in the polls, you know when it came? After a town hall here at NewsNation. We were the only ones to give him one. So I don't know how we're part of some, slightly undercover evil campaign. We gave him the biggest platform he's had. I've had him on 4 times. So the idea that I'm here to destroy him is silly. He was saying that while he was on my show. All right, I don't know how he can convincingly argue that NewsNation is part of the media machine smothering him. No one's given him more oxygen. His slip in the polls since that town hall, even with people pulling out, I see as proof that people want more than to have their outrage animated. They want a reason to believe that you can make things better. No great leader in America has ever made a legacy based on rage or revenge. Feels good. Red meat for the base. Remember, what eats red meat, raw red meat? Tigers, okay? Not human beings who are critical thinkers and thinking about community first and not destroying one another. That will not get us to a better place. It will keep us stuck in the place we're in. So I invite Ramaswamy back on the show, and we'll have a conversation that gives you a chance to measure whether or not he's the right guy for you. And please don't judge him based on what he said about me, okay? He's entitled to his own opinion, and I baited him. I pushed him to see how he would respond. You get to judge how he responded. But I'm not an enemy to his cause or to any cause, okay? I'm here to give you an opportunity to make up your mind for yourself. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.